You only get one chance at life and you have to grab it boldly. Edward Michael Grills, or how he's known from his show in Man vs. Wild, Bear Grylls. Let me introduce myself. I'm the host for today's podcast, Aishwarya Gaidane from Junction, the EdTech platform. And today's guest is Ashutosh Saxena, Cloud Support Associate, Analytics in Amazon Web Services. He has been a mentor, a teacher, a speaker, and has done his B.Tech from in computer sciences from Jaipur National University. So, Ashutosh, have I introduced you correctly? Do you want to add
Correct.
anything?
No, correct. Perfect.
So, Ashutosh, tell me, how was your college life? When did you graduate? And how was Jaipur National University?
Yeah. So, to begin with, my college life as a first question. So, I just want to let you know my college life somewhat like I was not the person who just listened the lectures which a teacher is teaching, right? So most of the time, I just always see the bar of my attendance. If I have 75%, bunk. Okay, so that's the whole thing. But which is obviously the engineering students will always do. We
Correct.
just maintain the bar. If we have 75, if we have 70, okay, just close off. But I have during my college life, I was not, if I bunk any kind of lecture, so you will never find me at some kind of a tea spot or in a cafeteria and nothing. But what I do is I just go over a silent place where just I open my laptop and I just start learning what I need to become actually, right? So the things which are not available in the books in the college library, right? So I just open up my laptop at a silent place and just start exploring things or start my own experimentation. I start making my own custom things and how to proceed with whatever I am learning. I just believed in continuous improvement myself again and very step by step I just learned the things. And always I just maintained my attendance bar even with the marks bar, right? So not too low, not that much average, good. So that means it is the teachers are satisfied, the parents are satisfied. That's it. But not as such 100% thing, because that is a completely useless. The main thing is just to sit in the examination, just to maintain the attendance. So that's the whole things are connected. Yeah.
Okay. So, Ashutosh, that's actually a good approach. I mean, after a certain point, marks actually do have diminishing returns, at least in the career perspective in the long run.
Yeah.
So, how did you zero in on the career line that you have? I mean, what was your journey through your college years? What kind of, because uh, technology today has so many sub-disciplines. How did you go through it? And by the end of your final year, during placements, I mean, what was your journey through all the
Yeah.
sub-disciplines? And today, whatever discipline that we are sitting at right now, as a you are right now in DevOps. So, how did you come to DevOps? There must be a
Yeah.
journey behind it.
Yeah. So what I have done to be just like a person where I just try to explore the things by my own. Okay. So most of the time, I just want to give one advice to all the students who are listening to this. Just don't depend on any kind of course or something. Let's say if you buy a course online, I'm not targeting any kind of platform, but let's say if you buy some course online, there's no such guarantee that you will complete that. And by any chance, if you completed that and you just written some notes, prepared the notes and how to do the things, okay, that is good, that you know how to do the respective thing, or you know how to apply that respective algorithm. But many of the people know the approach how to do this, but most of the people don't know why they're doing this, right? They need to know actually why the things, they need to know the why behind the thing. Obviously anyone can learn containers in a day, anyone can learn Jenkins in a day, but what is the point if they don't know why they're doing this, right? So
What
I
problem
always
is being
follow.
solved?
Exactly. So I always focus on why more than how, right? Implementation is simple, but you need to know why the things which you're doing, right? So that's what my approach was always. So that's why I, searched n number of official documents, read n number of official documents, that what is the core meaning of this. Obviously, the official documentation is the only one which will provide you 100% correct information regarding any product, right? So
Correct.
that's what my approach was. And I always try to make my own custom applications or custom solutions. So that always gave me the loopholes in even the technology, that this is the limitation, and even this is gave me that what I can do. I always test my potential, I always test my challenges, right? So this is the whole thing, or approach which I have taken to make own custom applications, and just to know the why behind the concept. If we know the why now, so that means we can correlate with anything. So that's what I follow during my
I
learning.
absolutely agree, Ashutosh, because languages keep changing, disciplines keep changing, but once we know why we are doing it and why the new technologies are even being used, why our old technologies that we've learned and which is so dear to our heart is being replaced by something else. If we don't know the
Exactly.
why behind it, then we won't be able to grasp it. And in the end of the day, we are problem solvers. That's all that we are.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the whole part. Because
Uh,
most of the students say that let's learn this technology. Okay, I will learn this. But let's say some A student said to student B that learn this technology. This is hot in the market right now. That person learned the technology, but where to implement this thing, man? So okay, you start implementation, but why you learn the technology? So most of the students don't know, or most of the people don't know why behind the scenes. So you need to learn why first, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct. Uh, so, cloud and DevOps as a career, uh, what is your suggestion or what comes into your mind when I say that?
Okay. So to be really very frank, this area is vast. There's no as such limits. DevOps is completely endless thing. Okay. And even n number of classifications are there. We can go for containers, we can go for automation, we can go for infra, we can go for monitoring, security, everything. And there's no as such limitations to the cloud also. Different cloud providers are available in the market, like AWS, GCP, and Azure. For if you talk for the different clouds like OpenStack, DigitalOcean, everything. But what my understanding with these things are, I got many questions from the students also, like, Ashutosh, we need to learn cloud or we need to learn DevOps. So how should we start, right?
Correct.
So I just simply say to the students that please proceed with hands-on. Okay, many of the students know theoretically that how to launch an EC2 instance. So what is the meaning of EC2 instance in AWS? Okay, so but they don't know the approach, that how to launch, or they, let's say, if a person know what is the meaning of Kubernetes, but they don't know how to launch a Kubernetes cluster in GCP, right? So this is the thing. So most of the time, what I suggest to students that please be on the road for the hands-on. Don't try with the theoretical concept in your mind. Theoretical concept, let's say if the theoretical concept is clear in your mind, but please try to implement this thing with your hands also. If you've seen that video lecture, let's say if you're following any let's say you purchase any online course, okay, on AWS, let's say,
Mhm.
and the teacher is teaching. I'm not targeting any kind of teacher here,
Mhm.
but let's say if any teacher is teaching and the teacher is teaching very good, and you thought, okay, I have learned this concept, but let's not implement this. That at that point where you are lacking. If I ask you the same question tomorrow or after 10 days, 15 days, I'm 100% sure that the person won't be able to answer, right? So
Correct.
what my approach is, do not learn. Just learn, do, learn, do, learn, do. So this is the staircase which I recommend to all those people who ask out that how to proceed with these things. Yeah,
Absolutely correct. Actually, we need to reinforce what we've learned. If we don't reinforce it, it won't be imprinted in our heads. And then we won't be able to implement it correctly, or maybe we might implement it in a way that was available in.
exactly.
Uh,
So what I as an add-on, what I say to my students that, let's say if you have learned anything, let's say if you know that how to launch or how to start a Docker container, let's say, if we talk about a Docker right now, so if you know how to start a container, but you know that point because that teacher who's teaching you just taught at that till that level, and you know that how to start the container or how to perform on your operations, but at that point you don't need to stop, just explore this thing more. Let's say you can start any custom application on that container and check how much bandwidth you are expending to, right? Because exploring at your own pace is the biggest thing which you can achieve. That means you are going out of the limits till that teacher has taught to you. You know the concept, but try to run an extra mile so that you can get a more clearer vision with it.
And the
So that's the one.
limitations of the said technology, like you said, and even the limitations of ours, limitations of our
Exactly.
understanding. That मैंने जितना सीखा, was I able to grab what I think I have grabbed, or is there
That's
anything else that needs to be cleared out or ironed out? It's
even that
actually
will just sharpen up your troubleshooting powers also. That how much you can troubleshoot the real things.
oh, absolutely, that is very much necessary, especially in our online days. So
Exactly.
you said that cloud and DevOps is very vast, and people need to know where to start, and they need to be hands-on with their approach. So what would you say, such kind of a career, if you had a mentor of sorts, who was inside the industry, was working in the industry, would that kind of a thing would have helped you back in the day? Would it help the average engineer today? What do you feel?
Mhm.
Is mentorship a good gateway to such disciplines? Because it is something that is so new and vast, you just cannot expect that 4 year college degree to completely integrate it. It can integrate,
Exactly.
of course, but complete integration is somewhat of a very far stretch. What do
Right.
you say about mentorship?
Yes. So what would I say is again the same point which I have elaborated in the last points. Like, let's say if someone taught you any technology, let's say if you are starting with DevOps, but directly jumping on the main technologies that like the containers with Docker, or with the
Mhm.
if you start with orchestration like Kubernetes, if you're
Mhm.
working with infrastructure, let's say Terraform or cloud formation like this, but don't directly jump over the major parts. But before focus with directly jumping on that, I would recommend you to learn the base first, right? Like the very first thing which you need to learn, the networking part. So how that, let's say, you need to learn the OSI model first, that how the things are working. That means,
Correct.
and every 7 layer model, how the packets are traveling from here to there. So you need to know the basic concepts. And after that, let's say you have learned those, and at the very second step, you need to learn Linux. Okay.
Correct.
You just most of the time the students will purchase a Linux course or say in a YouTube video and learned that how to make a partition, but you just learned that let's say you how
Exactly,
to make a
exactly.
partition, right? But let's say if I ask them to, let's say you've created the partition, now extend this partition. So at the most of a point, the student will get confused what is the meaning of extension, right? So that thing which they need to do is research them by yourself. As much as you research, that will help you grow. If I come to your question now, that how did I did this thing, मेरे पिताजी मुझे बहुत डांट रहे, बहुत भयानक, कि तू रात में 3 बजे तक जग के करता क्या है, कि that's the whole thing he said, मतलब why you are awake till 3 a.m. 4 a.m. man, तो सो जा, आंखें फूट जाएंगी. But that thing, that potential you need to be in yourself, that I need to do something like let's say I always try to make my custom projects, as I said, my custom applications, my custom integrations I used to do. So most of the time the ideas click in my mind in the midnight only. So I always try to think, oh yes, ho sakta tha. And I just start my laptop and tuck, 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 tuck. But that's the thing which you need to build in yourself, that you need to research by yourself only. If any mentor, best, let's say if any kind of mentor, let's say the world's best mentor can teach you the things, I can guarantee that. But if you won't do this implementation
Alone.
by your hands, you will gain nothing,
Correct.
nothing, zero.
Correct.
So that's the approach which I followed. I learned everything by myself, right?
Correct.
So no one taught me what is the meaning of volume in Kubernetes. No one
Mhm.
taught me what is the meaning of config map. But I always read the documentation and I always implemented that by myself only, right? So documentation is the clear and very easy thing to learn anything, and it's available free over the internet. So that's what I followed.
Correct. Totally agree with your
Yeah.
point too. So one more thing then, going through documentation, but would it be a little daunting task for people who are completely new to it? Completely new,
Mhm.
as in they might not have been interacting with a computer language, so to say. So for
Mhm.
that kind of a person, someone with a gateway would be a crucial, I mean, crucial help. Like you
Huh.
said, that you need to do the grunt work. Nobody is denying that. that we won't be able to do it. We won't be able to do or establish anything without doing it ourselves. But if someone is totally new to it, totally new as in कुछ ही नहीं आता,
Total.
तो उसके लिए a mentor who knows where to start, because that's what mentors do, right? They won't spoon feed you like teachers. They would just give you the direction and then you will come back with your problems. That kind of an approach, is that helpful? Do you feel that that could be helpful or that could be worked over, at least in the
Yes,
present
obviously.
system?
Yes, obviously. So,
Because you
mentor is
were
required
focused
everywhere.
enough to be have your approach, and you build up over your approach. But for an average Joe who might not be that focused or who might not know and know documentation, doc देख के he'll go अरे क्या लिखा है, and then just he'll scroll down and see GPL V2 and then he'll be like, okay, I'm done,
Mhm.
and he won't even care to see what is GPL also. So what do you feel in that kind of a situation?
Yes. So, mentor is required everywhere just to kickstart the things. If you are at the very beginner, if you're just beginning today, obviously you cannot open a document. So you think, yaar, kya hai? So
Hmm.
obviously that will blow your mind. So you need a guidance, or you just need a mentor, that I am learning this thing. Let's say if someone is started learning Linux. Let's say if we
Hmm.
start doing this thing, let's start learning Linux. So basically, you need to create one directory. You need to create the files or the very basic things.
Correct.
For that thing, you need a mentor. Let's say I asked you to create a directory. The command will be mkdir, the directory
Hmm.
name, and directory will be created, right? But at that point, this is my mentorship which I give to you. But let's say if I ask you to create another directory in the same directory, so that won't
That
I
is
teach you
something that I need to explore.
now? So that's the thing. Obviously, the mentors are required everywhere. Okay, but
Hmm.
just to kickstart, you need to jump over the staircase by yourself only. Mentors are
Correct,
required,
correct, correct, correct.
but just to explore the things, and or at your own, you will fail n number of times. And just there's no such thing that you won't fail. Even I
Hmm.
failed thousand times, and I just thought that I just give up, just quit off these things. But no, if I just quit up at that point, I don't think so. Such thing happened today, right? So what I say is, try to explore. You will fail, no issues in that. You will fail one, two, 3,000 times will fail, but try to do these things as much as you can, but try to be relaxed. Okay, let's say ऐसा कुछ नहीं, कुछ हो नहीं रहा, तुम 6 घंटे लगे हुए हैं. No, just feel relaxed, just go out. Okay, but try to do these things by your own. But if you're failing again and again, you've read the documentation, you have seen GitHub articles or issues available, but you are not succeeding, then at that point you can ask your mentor that this is a thing where I am lagging. So the person will definitely answer. But directly jumping towards the mentor,
That would be a teacher
uh,
student kind of an approach. That is
exactly,
wrong
and
because
and
spoon feeding
exactly,
again.
and you will just not learn anything. If you are
Correct.
seeing some problem and you jump towards a mentor, this is the easiest way to not to learn anything. And if you need to learn anything, you just need to explore the things
We'll
by
be
yourself.
copying. We'll be copying a solution that was
What?
probably prepared by the mentor. That how to get from point A to point B in a problem. We are just copying it so that we can go from point B to C in hopes that we'll be able to solve point B to C. But that won't be
Exactly.
the
So
case
that's
because A to B no malum.
exactly. So that's what I said. The easiest way to not to learn anything is just to ask somebody, right? That's the thing.
See, like you said, the way you approached your career, this would have been hard, right? Exploring everything by yourself, and again, juggling so many things. Like you said, you also teach people. So,
Mhm.
how do you juggle all this, and how does your personal life or even your priorities? I mean, there must have been a struggle over here. I mean,
Definitely.
how do you deal with that kind of a struggle? How do you deal with the struggle of doing it all alone? And how do you deal with, juggling so many things, being a mentor, being a teacher, and being an Amazon developer? It's a tasking thing. I mean, I know people who just do one thing out of the three things that you do.
Actually, teaching students or giving guidance or a mentorship is what satisfy my soul from inside. So this is my passion. So I'm doing since this thing since my college days. I started one technical club in my college even, and I taught the students of B.Tech, BCA, MCA on whatever technical fields are. So I used to took the sessions in my college days, and so after my office hours, so what I do is I just shut my laptop off, and after having some break, let's say after 1 hour, after some tea break or some snacks or that whatever, I just open up my laptop again, and I just start exploring the things that this is the thing which I need to check right now or learn right now. Or I'm preparing for any kind of X certification, let's say Terraform certification or DCP certification, XYZ. So if let's say for the mentorship you are asking for, most of the time I just give the time to my students, let's say from 9 to 11 most of the time. So I used to take classes in last year till December, and my teaching time was from 9 to 11. That was the session timing. Okay. And so that's how I balance my life, the professional life and the private life, right? So I just close my office by time, learn things which I need to learn, and teach the students after that. And after 11 or 11:15 or something, I just shut off my laptop and do whatever things I want. But I just don't think कि आज नहीं पढ़ाते. मतलब the thing is, if you have some kind of responsibility on you, you need to fulfill that. Okay, so just to make the student's career or the progress of them, or whatever the responsibility which you have taken, you need to give the desired results. So that's what I think. So that's how I manage.
Yeah, that was actually a very good answer. But what just wanted to ask, what about taking responsibilities? I mean, the responsibilities we are trying to fulfill it, and you've said that how we fulfill it, how do you fulfill it? But what about taking responsibilities? What motivates you to take these responsibilities? Is there a motivation to satisfy? Like you said, it's something that you do for your soul. But is there anything more to it? And is there something that our viewers can take away from on how to take more responsibility to give back? Because this might also have been a learning experience for you, right?
Exactly. So why this is the very first point that is satisfying me from inside. But the second thing is, even I learn by teaching, right? So if let's say if I'm explaining any kind of concept, let's say I'm explaining what is the meaning of VPC or how the things are working, what is the meaning of NAT gateway, and I'm just showing the practical example of NAT gateway to the students, right? But that's what that's what just helped me out in learning my concepts or refreshing my concepts also. Let's say if I'm lacking in a concept of NAT gateway, let's say, okay, at that point, that thing will click in my mind that Ashutosh, you need to clarify this thing again. If I'm teaching, let's say if I got stuck at some point, at that point I'm where I am lacking, right? So this is also gives me that I need to refresh this thing again, or I just need to take a look this thing at one more time. So this will enhance my learning also. If I'm teaching someone something, at that point the students are learning and even the teacher is learning. So that I just believe in continuous improvement in myself. So that's what the teaching will give me. That's where I am improving bit by bit, right?
Correct.
So this is the continuous improvement which I believe, and obviously the satisfaction thing will be the first priority.
Yeah, actually bang on about continuous improvement. I mean, that's how Porsche developed their 911 car. They've been trying to improve it still since 1958, and they are still perfecting it. So yeah, continuous improvement is the way to go if you really are pursuing something that you're really passionate about. Let's pivot over analytics. I mean, what do you see as analytics as an industry? How do you see it as a career option for students? How do you see it merging with cloud and DevOps? If you can shine some light over it, because these are all new terms for viewers.
Yeah. So in the analytics team, so I'm currently at AWS, I'm serving in the analytics team. So in the end, we are using the services like AWS OpenSearch, which is a successor to Elasticsearch service, which is a complete managed AWS service, which will provide you the power of the searching, what are the full text search, whatever things are, and even with the virtualization, with the Kibana, and the other services like Kinesis, which will help you out in the real-time streaming, and the Kinesis data streams, and Firehose, which will help with the near real-time things, the video streamings. And if we talk about the Amazon Redshift and even the managed streaming for Amazon Apache Kafka, MSK. So all these things are meant for the proper analytics, which is the cloud is providing to you, and you don't need to manage your self-managed Elasticsearch cluster. So that will be a hard thing to manage. Obviously, you need to set up the data nodes and even the master nodes, everything by yourself. But cloud is giving you that flexibility
platform
that just spin up the cluster in 10 minutes, right? So with the analytics thing, which I usually prefer learning just by directly now jumping towards the cloud. Start with the open source first, right? Let's say don't directly jump with the managed services, cloud services, but try to see how the things are working at the backend first. Try to learn the open source Elasticsearch first. At that point, you will just learn whatever the API calls are, everything. And at that point, you will see how much easier it is and how much flexible it is to handle the big infrastructure, right? Obviously, you cannot split up 10 number of nodes in your local machine of the Elasticsearch. It will just burn up your RAM, memory, everything. But in the cloud, you will get that power. You can get unlimited power of the cloud. But before directly jumping to those managed services, I would suggest that please try to learn the open source first. So after that, you will have the much more flexibility in the cloud.
Absolutely. Yeah. And open source is the way to go, at least for students in the initial phase, because the level of expertise and the level of elasticity that we have and the freedom that we get, that has a different level of insight versus to a paid service or a service that is self-managed or being managed by someone else. So it is actually bang on. And how do you see the tech industry going forward with coronavirus? I mean, how it was before coronavirus and after coronavirus? How do you see it from an upper level? How do you see the whole industry?
So most of the time, I just observed. I've seen many of the things on the LinkedIn. Like most of the people are working from home and in the comfort zone. This is good, but the people are relying on their laptops. They're just sitting in the comfort zone and just sitting in the meetings on their bed and having the bed tea in the morning and sitting in the stand-ups on the scrum meetings. So this is the things are going good, and even the technology is increasing day by day, and the demand of cloud is increasing day by day because the data, whatever the people are producing in every second, that is increasing, and in the end, the need of cloud is required everywhere. Even any person, if don't know the meaning of cloud over here, who is watching this, I just want to let you know that you are using cloud every day. How? The Google Drive thing, right? So you are uploading the photos on the Google Drive daily, na? Or by any chance or by any means you are using Google Drive, by any means, that means you're using cloud, and you don't know that, right? So tech industry is increasing, and the technologies, whatever the things are coming in the market daily, are increasing exponentially. So I suggest everyone, even the students who are watching this, please try to polish your skills every day. Just don't think कि मैं आज ये सीख लेता हूँ बस एक चीज से काम हो जाएगा. Nothing. Just keep escalating, keep learning, and start polishing. If you don't polish anything, let's say if you learned anything, let's say any technology you've learned, any X technology which you've learned, but there are some updates coming. Let's say in the 2-3 months, there is some updates in some commands, or there is some updates in handling that thing. And you don't know that. You haven't read that new documentation. You haven't read what is the new thing which is coming up. So obviously you are lagging behind. So this is the thing where tech industry is growing exponentially, and you need to grow with that, right? So that's what I suggest, that please try to polish the skills which you learned. If you just learned one thing, or you just learned a thing and you just forgot it, there's no point in that. आप बस आगे जा रहे हो, पीछे का बोल रहे हो. So this is not the thing which you need to perform. You just need to keep refreshing. You just need to keep polishing the things.
So what would be your suggestion for students who are learning online, or what is your perspective on online studies versus offline studies, and what is your suggestion for students online?
The students who are learning online, I just want to say that you guys are sitting in a comfort zone, right? And the teacher is teaching in front of you, and you're just seeing by having a coffee, having Maggie or whatever, but you are in a comfort zone and you are happy with this. I completely agree with this, but try not to forget that the time is precious. Okay, the time thing is everything. Let's say if you're happy कि हमने टीचर की बात तो सुनी नहीं और हमने तो लैपटॉप बंद कर दिया था, so this thing will make you happy just for that moment, and probably you will regret this thing in the future that उस time पढ़ लेता, right? So please be in your comfort zone, be happy, but try to run the extra miles, right? If you think that the teacher taught me the thing and okay, I will just implement afterwards, or whatever thing which I've learned from an online course or which I purchased from any of the available platform, I will just learn it tomorrow. It is completely self-paced. Chutti to hai. So every minute, every day, every hour is precious, man. And so try not to just limit your potential at any point only. Try to challenge your limits every time. That's what I do personally every day, right? So this is the thing which I need to suggest to the students, that please try not to think keep kal kar lunga, that kal will never come, right? So most of the time what happens is, let's say any students recorded any kind of a lecture and think that kal kar lunga, so that kal will never come. So that's what I personally experienced, right?
Yeah. And how do you see the future of, the future of tech industry as a whole? I mean, analytics, DevOps, and cloud. When we merge them together, I think tech as a whole ही हम बोल सकते हैं at this point. So how do you see it going forward, especially online, offline? I mean, this online, offline, and hybrid thing that we have going in the industry. How do you see the future going forward?
Yeah. So as I said, the cloud industry and even every industry is growing. Whoever are connected with technologies, everything is growing exponentially, right? The data is increasing day by day, and people are merging from on premises to the cloud, right? Because the data is increasing and even they don't have the proper resources to handle such data. So that's why they're merging towards the clouds. Any cloud, I'm not just saying about AWS, any of the cloud, let's say GCP or Azure or any kind of which is suitable for any customer needs, right? So that's what I believe, that the tech industry is growing exponentially second by second, and you need to upgrade yourself, right? So that's why I think learning cloud and learning DevOps and even learning development is very much needed for any of the student, right? Many of the students I've seen which are even pursuing MBA are just going in the machine learning most of the time, which I've seen. Even my personal friends, one of my friends is currently working in the Dell Technologies. He pursued MBA as a machine learning engineer. Oh man, no one thought that this thing, but still he tried this, that he just got the interest in ML, which is a very, very tough thing to learn, right? But still he just learned that thing, implemented everything by himself, and right now he's where, right? So this is the thing which I usually suggest to the students, that please check your potential at where you are right now, okay, and start learning. Cloud में interest नहीं आता, छोड़ दो. There's nothing like कि cloud ही सीखना, right? Try to learn which excites you, right? Cloud excite me, DevOps excite me. That's why I do it. Whatever you are feeling excited for, let's say you're feeling excited for, let's say analysis. Let's say you're learning Tableau. Let's say you're learning Power BI, SAP. So all these things which excites you, learn that. Be expert in that. ऐसा मत सोचो कि just Ashutosh said learn cloud, we're just moving towards cloud. No, try to learn which excites you and which gives the potential in you, that I can be the expert in this and I can make the career in this. So that's what I suggest. Do what excites you in doing this thing, so that you can be productive in that time, right?
Correct. what excites you is really the matter. I mean, everything is so interdisciplinary right now. I get it that if it excites you, you can pursue it, and there might be a use case for it.
Exactly. So most of the time I've seen कि उसने बोला क्लाउड कर ले, मैं तो क्लाउड कर रहा था, मुझे समझ में नहीं था, लेकिन मैं कर रहा हूँ, तो भाई तू क्यों कर रहा है? So this is the thing ना. So you need to learn, or you need to think which where your interest lies in. Don't do cloud if you don't want to do, right? Do what excites you, or what you will in which you see yourself in the future, right? So this is the thing which I want to suggest.
So pivoting over, I mean, building over what you just said and pivoting to the conclusion of our podcast, advice, life or otherwise, for our viewers, what would you say?
Try to give yourself a break. Just not to sit in front of computer. Just I want to do. That will just kill up your mind. What I personally do is I just go in the park silently. Okay, I just try to sit in the park, or have some mental peace. Okay, so this is what I do when I just frustrated from the things. Obviously I'm also human here, so try to just not to completely push your brain ki karna hai. Obviously you have time, man, but try to be in that limits. Hard work is not that thing you are just doing that thing 24 hours. No, hard work thing which will count in your relaxation also, your personal time also, even your family time, or whatever things are. But be consistent. Consistency is the only thing which you will which will help you out to just move up, right? If you're not consistent, let's say Sunday, skip. No, there's no Sunday. Consistency thing is a consistency thing, right? Be consistent. Just go outside, roam with your friends, whatever, but be consistent. Consistency thing is the only thing required, right?
Correct.
That's the thing.
Correct. Actually, it was actually great to hear from you. I think our viewers would enjoy what you've said, and the voice modulation that you've shown, it really shows that you're really passionate about what you're saying, and you really know your stuff, because I could feel it. I could feel it with the way your tones change with the questions. I could feel it that how your mood is changing to explore and to answer whatever you have in your heart and mind. And that is really, really good. Thank you so much, Ashutosh, for your time. Thanks to Grow Junction for organizing this podcast, and thanks for our viewers to tune in. Ashutosh, anything else that you want to add?
No, that's what I think, that I've just given all of the insights completely, and what you need to do and how you need to do. And the main point is you need to learn the thing why. Just learn the why, you will get all the answers.
Absolutely. On that note, we'll end this podcast. Thank you so much, Ashutosh.